Welcome everyone to TFT Tarot for today, Divine Dabblings with Oberon and Banshee, and it's me, Oberon, with the outlook on the emotional exchanges. It's my weekly show that kind of gives us an emotional forecast for the week ahead, and that week is Friday, August 28th, till next Thursday, and I believe that's the 3rd. Of September. So yeah, we're moving into the fall months. Alright, so this is a short reading for every sign of the Zodiac. I start with Aries and I move all the way through the Zodiac to Pisces. No frills. I'm not going to do a meditation or any kind of card for the collective. Here's what we do. I draw 2 cards for each sign. The first card represents your best or good emotional exchange you will have for this week. And then the second card, which I will pull from the bottom of the deck, represents that challenging emotional exchange for the week. Possibly a clue on what you may need to do. All right, so we're going to get started. And this reading, the first reading, is for Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising. So, as I mentioned, from the top of the deck, the first card is, what is the good or best emotional exchange this week? And, oddly enough, it's the Magician reversed. So, the Magician reversed could be saying, your emotional exchange may be really figuring out if you're overexerting your willpower in something or your need to be in charge of something. This could also be saying too that you may realize that maybe somebody you're dealing with has been trying to pull the wool over your eyes. Maybe you're being tricked in some way or somehow not quite getting to where you want, I guess. And as a good emotional exchange, I think this mostly just cautions us to be aware of what we want our willpower and our other creative talents to express. So this may be saying your emotional exchange is really about checking yourself and not getting into any possible, bad situations because you spoke or did something that you shouldn't have. All right, so what is, it's almost like they're reversed. What is the challenging situation, emotional exchange? And it's the Emperor. And so the Emperor could be saying you just really need to manage this stuff. That maybe if there's something going on where you're not able to project your power and it was a good thing for some reason, like maybe it stopped you from doing something you would have regretted. This is just saying what's challenging here is really trying to rein that in, to be in charge of it, to not overexpress when you don't need to. I think it's pretty simple and clear. So that was Aries. We're going to move on now to Taurus, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Taurus, Sun, Moon, or Rising. What's a good emotional exchange you will have this week? And it's the reversed Ace of Wands. And so there may be a delay to something that involves maybe a project or situation with friends. Maybe this is about starting a new friendship, or this is moving a friendship in a particular direction. Maybe it's a social club starting. It sort of has an emphasis on really being about growth and maybe networking to some degree. What is the challenging situation? And again, they're the opposite, so you could take it for what it's worth. But the Nine of Pentacles is your challenge, and maybe that challenge suggests that you really are seeking a way to be more comfortable and more secure and more able to really enjoy what it is you have. It's not about maybe moving something in another direction. It's maybe understanding what you have now that you really need to appreciate and respect. So yeah, they're a little wobbly there. I almost wonder if, well, I don't know. I don't think it's Mercury retrograde. We're going to move on to Gemini, Sun, Moon, or Rising. All right, Gemini, what is your good emotional exchange this week? It's the devil. The devil wears Prada, of course. But the devil is saying maybe your emotional exchange that's good is realizing what it is that's limiting you, that maybe you are going to come across this idea that there are certain things that maybe are making you withhold what your expression wants to be at this time. And some of this could be feeling like there's bad habits and things that you need to address, and maybe that's why it's a good exchange, because you are recognizing these things and you are going to be seeking ways to kind of lift the collar of what is dominating you. Now, what is the challenging emotional exchange? And it's the reverse Six of Swords. And the challenge may be that you wanted to go somewhere else, but you realize you have to work on this stuff or other stuff, and so you're not going to be moving exactly the direction you want to where something feels more peaceful, less troublesome. You may have to sit and work with some situations that are still having limitations for you, Gemini. All right, we'll move on to Cancer now. Sun, Moon, or Rising? Sun, Moon, or Rising. Cancer. And by the way, I'm using my Modern Love Tarot. I always use that. It's by Ethony, artwork by Lucy Morningstar. It's been a mainstay here on the Emotional Exchanges for a couple years, I think. I do mix it up once in a while with some other decks. All right, Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising. What is your good emotional exchange this week? It's the Lover's reversed. So the realization maybe that where you're going emotionally involves tipping the scales towards some excess, or maybe something that makes you uncomfortable because it doesn't really reflect what you feel are your values or virtues. And so this exchange involves you really making yourself make that choice to be better. What is your challenge? Your challenging exchange is the Four of Swords, and it's reversed. And so the challenge is coming back to the world from that, perhaps. Coming back to a world where you feel you were excessive and now you need to rein it in and recover. You know, the Four of Swords reversed can be about recovery, about finding a way to seek help, therapy, whatever's needed for maybe some really depressing situations even. And so if that first card says that, you know, your choices have really seeking to make better choices is really the best you can do, it's aided by the fact that this challenge will take a while, and you should not expect recovery to be so immediate. All right, we'll move on now to... All right, we're going to start with Leo now, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Leo, Sun, Moon, or Rising, what is your best or good emotional exchange this week? Justice is reversed. Justice reversed could be indicating that you are understanding how someone was unfair in a relationship, or how you were misjudged, or maybe someone brought to light how you yourself were being unfair and misjudging someone else. So it's a good emotional exchange because it's kind of reinstituting the idea that there needs to be equality in certain relationships, especially the ones that are strongly emotionally bonding for you. This may be a time for you to realize this was an opportunity to realize your own perceptions as well as other perceptions and how they affect the relationships that are important to you. So from the bottom of the deck, what is the challenging emotional situation? And I wonder if they're connected. It's the Lovers upright. And maybe this is saying that the challenge is that through all of this, or beyond all of that, you may have to make a choice in terms of a relationship. If it's about continuing a relationship or moving it to another level, or beginning one that hasn't quite started, there may be some interesting concepts for you to pursue here. Especially, I believe it is relating to the idea of how fairness is involved in either how you apply yourself or how it has been applied to you in your relationships. Good luck with that, Leo. Virgo, Sun, Moon, or Rising. All right, Virgo, what is your good emotional exchange this week? That's the Page of Wands, upright. So maybe you're going to a party. You're being invited to something, Virgo, or you're hearing good news about things that is about, friends or family, or about warmth you perceive in your life. I'm going to go with the idea of an invitation. It's the end of summer. Maybe there's going to be a really nice Labor Day or similar kind of party that you would go to. Have fun. All right, what is the challenging emotional exchange for the week? It's the Eight of Swords. So I don't think this is connected to the first card, but I think the Eight of Swords does suggest that sometimes you feel emotionally you're holding yourself back. You don't feel you're really able to be free for some reason. And a lot of this is maybe you have to come and realize that it's really kind of your own sense of yourself that's holding yourself back. Some of this is an illusion. You may not be as held in place as you think you are, but changing that will be the challenge for you, my friend. All right, so we're nearly halfway through, I think. I'm sorry, we're moving on to Libra, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Libra, what is the best emotional, vibrational thing that's going to happen? And it's the Hierophant. And so, Libra, there may be a real strong connection going on with you and somebody that almost approaches making a commitment, making a bond of some sort. There's also a sense here, too, of maybe realizing that everything is really working out the way you wanted, that maybe there's just a sense really things are perfect in a way. I know, I can't say much more about that. Now, what is the challenge then? The challenging exchange is the reversed Four of Cups. And from that sense of maybe understanding where everything is truly structured in your emotional life, you may still feel that now is a point for you to make that consideration or make that move that maybe you hadn't been sure of. And so this could be saying that you are putting things in a different perspective, really, from that first card, and that maybe there is progress or advancement. It just may actually be in a differing kind of direction. That's kind of interesting, Libra. All right, we're going to move on to Scorpio then. Sun, Moon, or Rising. Scorpio, as someone says. And Scorpio, like Cancer and Pisces, the fellow water signs, tends to have a lot of emotional things that are pretty much strong in your life. Emotional passions can be a big thing for Scorpio and the water signs. All right, Scorpio, what is your best emotional exchange this week? And you have the Lovers. You have a great choice to make. You have a choice that really defines what you want in relationships: beauty, harmony, a feeling of being appreciated, a feeling of sacredness in a way. What is the challenging exchange? And it's the reversed Three of Swords. And so if they're connected, this may be saying really that choice or that change that is coming really is an act of recovery. And that maybe for Scorpios, this could be realizing, and I think it's really within yourself, Scorpios. I'm feeling it myself too. It's not about choosing someone, it's about choosing something, maybe, just maybe, about choosing to heal yourself in a world that has a lot of pain right now and a lot of heartbreak. Scorpio, I know you can do it. And we will move on to Sagittarius now. Sagittarius, what is your best emotional exchange for this week? That's the Seven of Cups, upright. And your best exchange is realizing how blessed you are, how many possibilities you really have from an emotional point of view, and your life is full. You don't have to just, feel like you're limited in what it is that makes you happy. Everything can make you happy. All of your relationships, all of your interactions with people this week will be astonishingly hopeful and wondrous for you. Now, what is the challenge then? The challenge is the reversed Ace of Pentacles. And so sometimes a lot of love can't necessarily make everything be comfortable in the material sense. And so this could be saying that you may be dealing with discomfort where materialism can impact on your emotional security. So, for example, this could be saying that you realize you need something, but it's just not possible for you financially or for other considerations that involve, a material focus of some sort. And so you may have to delay this. Maybe it's like a move. Maybe it's a new job or a new relationship even. But something is kind of causing a slowdown for you. And you will have to work through that. Good luck, Sagittarius. And we'll move on to Capricorn now. Sun, Moon, or Rising, Sagittarius, what is your good emotional exchange this week? That's the Eight of Pentacles. It sort of feels like you found the playbook and you decided to follow it. You realize that working together on issues, if you had them in a relationship, or even, you know, trying to move towards relationships. Everybody has a relationship. It may not be a primary one, but everybody has relationships with people, hopefully. And so I think the Eight of Pentacles says your good emotional exchange is realizing where partners or resources in your life really work with you to achieve mutual goals. And so some people don't have partners in an actual relationship, but they may have partners in other kinds of friendships or relationships. This still means that maybe there's a sense of being able to work together on something that really benefits you both. All right, what is the challenging exchange? It's justice reversed. And maybe something happens this week that you realize just doesn't make you feel like there's a fairness or equality going on, and you're going to have to find a way to address that somehow. I'm just going to leave it with that. You know, sometimes people judge us for what we believe, who we care about, and this may be an issue for you in this week ahead, that you'll have to stand up for what you really believe in with that. Or for someone else, to be supportive of someone else. Capricorn. We're going to move on to Aquarius then. Sun, Moon, or Rising. All right, Aquarius, what is the good thing in the relationship, the good exchange? It's the Sun reversed. And the Sun reversed means almost the same thing. I mean, it's not a bad card. It doesn't reverse the Sun. It just says that maybe it's not exactly as shiny and bright, but it's pretty darn close. The Sun is almost always a really good indicator for relationships, possibly for bondings, marriages, engagements. It's a really good sign for people with children. Children are going to be happy and playful and unaffected by, you know, bad emotional things in the world. So I suggest that you're going to have some pleasant encounters, either with your own children or with other people's children, and or with people who really feel care, emotional love, concern for you or for other people that are in your shared life. So what will be challenging this week? And it's the reverse Ten of Pentacles. And the reverse Ten of Pentacles says that there could be some situations in your family or in your unit where maybe you need to find a way to bring everybody to the same page. It could be that, I'm almost wondering if like maybe somebody's really great, happy, emotional situations with that Sun leave others feeling alone, distant, perturbed in some way, and it may be up to you to show everybody why it's a good thing for everyone. I'll just leave it with that, and we'll move on to Pisces now. Sun, Moon, or Rising. Pisces, you are the last sign of the Zodiac, but you are not the least, Pisces. And we hope that you too, like all the signs, will have something good to deal with, and a challenge that won't be too hard for you. All right. What is that good thing? And it's the Knight of Swords. And the Knight of Swords is reversed, so you have to check your energy, I think, this week, that maybe if you feel like you've been overly aggressive about pursuing an emotional thing, whether it's a relationship or just an object or a thing that gives you pleasure, you may have to realize that your rushing is not going to help you, and that maybe it's better for you to slow down and have a more precise and measured way of approaching your goal. And it'll be a good thing because you decided to do that. Now, what is the challenge? And the challenge is the High Priestess. And the challenge may be that in this or other matters, you need to listen to your intuition. Your intuition may be trying to tell you something, Pisces, and maybe you've been rushing too much towards an object rather than realizing that your intuition is trying to give you some information. I don't think it's a warning about this, but I think it is something you need to realize, and maybe it will help you slow down and accommodate things in a more appreciable fashion. All right, so that's the emotional exchanges for this week. I thank everybody for coming. I hope you got something out of it. If you'd like to see more changes here, please drop us a line on this video, or you can write at our Gmail, TFT Tarot for Today, one word, at gmail.com. Let us know how you feel about this. And don't forget to watch the happy hour tomorrow, Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Come and get a one-card pull that promises a divine, positive, uplifting message for today, well, tomorrow, Saturday, and the week ahead. And check out Banshee's Material Matters on Sundays at 10 a.m. It's pretty much what she does for Material Matters is what I did here for Emotional Exchanges. So check that out. We're live in the chat room there so we can chat about all of that and still connect with our tarot tribe. And then Sunday afternoon is our live stream from 2 to 4 p.m. We answer all questions we can. Get there early. We get filled up quick. We can only do about 15 readings in a 2-hour span. So get there early. Leave your question if you're going to go surf somewhere else, because if your name comes up and you're not there to give us your question, we don't have it, we will move on to the next person and you may not get a reading at all. All right, everybody, that's enough from me, Oberon, with the Emotional Exchanges. I hope to see you next week. Bye.